Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here on our first day of this 12-week bootcamp. Today we're going to start, the week is going to start with Corissa Hernandez in the entrepreneur mindset. Corissa actually was the curator of this program, so anything that has been included is because of her brain. So feel free to pick it as much as you can. She's going to be teaching with us the entrepreneur mindset today. And after this, she would be presenting list, licenses and permits part 1 and 2. And to give you a little bit more background about Corissa, she's the co-founder visionary behind Legacy Full Circle Financial and Insurance Services, the Empire Tavern, House of Sala and Ativo, and she's the daughter of Mexican immigrants. She began her career as a teacher after earning her degree at Cal Poly Pomona in UCLA. And nothing else to say on my end. I'll pass it on to you, Corissa.
Thank you, Maybelline. Actually, before you share your screen, I kind of wanted to have a moment to just kind of meet everyone, if that's okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Corissa Hernandez. It's such a pleasure to be with all of you tonight. As Maybelline shared, I was invited by CLA to do the curation of this program, and I couldn't have been more humbled and more excited to have that opportunity. I started my journey as an entrepreneur 16 years ago, and there's things that I learned along the way. As Maybelline mentioned, I am the daughter of hardworking immigrant parents, so I did not come from a background of savvy business owner parents or rich family that was like, here, take this money and go run with your dreams. So there were a lot of expensive mistakes that I made along the way, a lot of heartaches, a lot of failures. But one thing that I've learned to kind of accept is that I'll fail forward and I'll fail forward. And there's things that I wish someone would have mentored me about. And so having platforms like CLA with the Season Accelerated program are just such a blessing and such a unique platform where I love working with, to be able to share the things that I've gone through in an effort to help you all propel through mistakes that we've made, and then hopefully provide the information that I wish I had access to when I was first beginning with my business. Like I said, 16 years ago, I left teaching. I was teaching here in LAUSD. I was a middle school teacher. I taught English and history, and I loved it. But I had a need to help my family. We weren't from a wealthy background. So for me, it was just kind of trying to find a way to make ends meet. And for me, someone came along and talked to me about, hey, our community lacks information when it comes to financial literacy. And so it really piqued my interest, and I started doing a lot of research around it. And I found a passion to not just teach junior high school students, but to teach adults financial literacy. Long story short, I found a niche for communities of color and women who needed access to financial information. And before you knew it, my side gig turned into a full-blown business. And that was my first baby. But on the weekends, I'd like to let loose, and I love craft beer. So I was like, you know what, one day when I can, I would love to open a craft beer bar. And so my husband and I put our heads together. 8 years into our first business, we decided to venture into the beverage industry and opened our very first craft beer bar. Every 2 years since, we started opening bars. We had opened Empire Tavern in Burbank. 2 years later, I returned to my family's first home here in the United States, was Boyle Heights, and we opened a bar here. And it was just like this beautiful full circle moment where I was able to create this space that paid homage to the community that opened its arms to my immigrant family, provided us our first home. And I meshed the community with my family's hometown and created Chelas. 2 years later, we had the opportunity to do the same in my husband's hometown, which is Highland Park, and we opened Nativo. A lot of stuff happened in between. And I think that number one, the one thing that a lot of us don't get to hear about when it comes to becoming a business owner and running your own business is the mindset. I can't tell you the amount of workshops I've gone to, seminars, books I've read, where they go into the nitty-gritty of it, but forget this component of mindset. Mindset is everything. It'll get you through your heartbreaks. It'll get you through those failures. It's going to get you through the hard times, but it's also going to help you celebrate those victories that much more. And I'm really excited to get into that. But before I do, does everyone here know each other? Is this the first time everyone's kind of meeting one another? Okay, I know sometimes this gets nerve-wracking, but if we can go around and like just say your name, the name of your business, if you have your business already established, and what you hope to learn tonight. I can call on someone. You guys prefer me to call on people? I'm just gonna go around my screen here. Okay, Belinda, you go first.
Hi, yes, I'm Belinda McKinney. The name of my business is Heaven and Earth Purpose Kitchen, where I prepare alkaline whole plant meals. And I finally got it up and going last year, 2022, around like October or so. I actually did the DBA back in April of last year, but didn't really find a kitchen space that I could afford. I really can't afford that. But anyway, affordable kitchen space to actually get it going. So that's just the introduction of what I do.
Thank you, Belinda. Nice to meet you. Tracy, you want to go next?
Hi, my name is Tracy Thomas Navarro, and I don't have a business name, but I am a cookie baker. And I am just here to take everything in. And I really like what you said about mindset and purpose. I think that's really important. And I haven't thought about that in terms of running a business, but in other places in my life I have. So looking forward to it.
That's great. Thank you. Mandy.
Hi guys, I'm actually an instructor and I'll be teaching the next 2 weeks. But Corissa, I just wanted to meet you and sort of listen to how you ran your session to make sure I bring my best for everybody here next week. But also didn't want everyone to have to introduce themselves all over again next week. So I thought if I listened in this week, I would have a sense of what you guys are working towards and just be able to come into next week with that knowledge. So anyway, it's very nice to meet you all.
Awesome. Nice to meet you, Mandy. Tasha.
Hello, everybody. So my name is Beatrice Tasha, and the name of my business currently is Cutie's Kitchen. I purposely focus on vegan, wholesome, quality handcrafted cooking. I'm a culinary arts student and whilst baking and restaurant management. My focus and emphasis is in Boyle Heights, East LA, Lincoln Heights, Woo, yes. And I currently do like small pop-ups. I do delivery. My focus would be starting off with ghost kitchen, commissary kitchen, venue, and that would be the ultimate goal, is having a plant-based venue in the hood. But starting off small with doing deliveries, just where the future is going, I see, and for overhead costs. And what I'm excited to learn about is definitely mindset, to have a balance, to understand business etiquette and set aside emotional disturbances and be able to just like get straight in, focus, zone in, but still, like you mentioned, be able to have that balanced mindset and craft that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Emiko Sasabe. I haven't decided my restaurant name yet, my business name yet. I moved from Japan 4 years ago. I moved here in the United States from Japan 4 years ago, and everything is so new for me. And I was working as an office worker before, so this is a big new challenge for me. So mindset is really important. I want to learn many things from here.
That's
too.
amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And don't feel intimidated. I had a teaching background. I had no idea what business was like. So you're in a good place with good people, and we're here to coach you along the way. Thank you. Jasmine.
Hi, I'm Jasmine. My business is called Indigo Kitchen. It actually, right now, it focuses on Caribbean inspired sauces and condiments. Since that is like my ethnic background. I'm originally from New York, but I do live in Boyle Heights now. And I have been to Chelas before, and it's really dope. I love your space. Yeah, it's so cool. So I was really excited to meet you today because I was like, oh wow, this is literally down the block for me. But I think today I really want to focus on overcoming fear and kind of like being able to just move past that and like jump into something, not being afraid to make mistakes and like that sort of mindset. I've always allowed fear to, I guess, hinder me. And so I want to learn some tools how to overcome that.
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing that. We got to get out of our own ways sometimes, right? And it's
Sure,
okay to feel,
sure.
I always feel like when you feel a little bit afraid, you're doing something right, but you can't let it stop you, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
We'll talk about that tonight. Thank you, Jasmine.
You're welcome.
I think you're still muted. There you go.
There I am. Hi, everyone. I'm
Hi.
Stephanie Ray. Hi. My company, I'm still nailing down the name, but I think it'll either be Bliss Botanicals or Bliss Flower Essence Elixirs. I work with flower essence therapy, and in the past, I've custom made flower essences for individuals. And I just feel like it's such powerful medicine, and it's so gentle. I want more people to have access to it. And I always loved mixing it into drinks. And I also love elixirs. So I wanted to bring the two together and make that something where, people can grab it and experience flower essence medicine on the go. So some delicious drinks with flower essences in them to heal emotional issues.
Ooh,
And
I love that.
Yes. I can see it so clearly in my head. And I think one of my biggest challenges is getting, ideas from that, from the thought space into the physical space. And I just feel like there's so many steps. So one of the things that I'm looking forward to learning is just, how to hold my own through the process and the trial and error, and just have more confidence around building something, and especially since it's a unique thing. Yeah,
that's great. And you're in the right place. When I first started my business, I didn't even know what a business plan was. Like somebody asked me for my business plan. I had to Google what that meant. So don't let any of like having to know everything stop you. There's a saying that goes, I think, shoot now, aim later. And that's literally what business is. You just like figure it out along the way. And these type of platforms really let you into a lot of really helpful information. So you're in a good place, Stephanie. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Maria.
Hi, I think the team knows me. I'm program associate for the Season Accelerator Bootcamp program, but nice to see you all again.
Awesome. Janet.
Sorry, I had to figure out where that mute button was. My name is Janet Kim. I'm an LA native. The business that I'm trying to start actually initially starts with a product, which I am calling a kimchi starter. I haven't come up with a business name yet. The idea is that it is one CPG product that you can purchase that is a base that's customizable that you can use to make kimchi. But there's a product alongside that, which is all digital, which would be information on how to ferment vegetables, whether they're farmers market products or vegetables that you buy at your local Asian grocery store or whatever, to make kimchi at home. So I'm leaning towards the name Nodu Nadu, which in Korean means you do, I do, which is the idea of like making kimchi together.
I love that. So
Thank
cute.
you. Yeah, and I think the goal for me is I've been in food and beverage for a very long time, over 20 years. And I have worked with startups to now I'm in a corporate structure, and I would love to understand how I'm just like getting in my own way. I know I have an entrepreneurial spirit. I come up with business ideas all the time. So I feel I need, because of the corporate structure background, like I need that sort of, step-by-step jumping off of a cliff kind of, mentality. So I'm hoping to gain that here.
That's great. Thank you so much, Janet. And I think Blanca, we have not heard from you yet.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Blanca Alvarado, and I'm not too sure what type of business I want to start off, either making jams or doing agua frescas around my community, but the only names that pop up are South LA Jams and South LA Oasis. What I want to get out from this webinar today is to change my mindset of being the boss. I always stayed in the role of being an assistant or someone who follows the lead of others, and I'm trying to get out of that comfort zone of being the one to take the lead and showing others how to navigate a project and hopefully helping me start this business. And also I want to if my business is able to take flight, I want to provide job opportunities to the youth in South LA as someone who's when she graduated high school, I found it very hard to get into a job right first, because a lot of places offer require experience which you don't have straight out high school, and I want to be that one place where youth could get that first time experience to have something on their resumes when they want to take whichever career path they want to take.
I love that. You're already starting off with passion and a vision. So good for you, Blanca. I think we got everybody, unless I missed anybody. All right, well then let's get to it. Just a disclaimer, I have motion sensor lights, so if it goes dark on this end, I'm still here. I'll just hit the lights in a second. So let's talk about some mindset. Maybelline, if you don't mind sharing your screen, thank you so much. So I already shared with you guys a little bit about my background. I think that mindset is something that early on in my career, I was able to really nurture. I was blessed to have access to mentors early on in regards to the importance of mindset, books to read, audiobooks to listen to, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But every day I prioritize my mindset. I have a very specific routine I start with every morning. Every morning I make sure that I silence my mind, get clear, get focused, remind myself my vision. And that's all something we're going to be breaking down tonight. So I like the question. So you want to be a boss. Let's talk about what that takes. Next slide, Maybelline, please. So being your own boss is probably one of the most rewarding things you'll experience in this lifetime. There's nothing like having control of your time and money. I can think back to when I had my job, and although I really loved it and I was very passionate about the work that I did, I didn't have the flexibility to decide where my time was going. That was determined for me, and how much income I could make. That income was set no matter how qualified I was or how many hours I would put in, it was already set for me. Being your own boss gives you the flexibility to understand that you, at the end of the day, are the only one who will control your time, and you are the only one that will have control over the income that you can create through your business with the proper steps. Becoming a successful entrepreneur doesn't mean just creating this amazing product. I can't tell you the amount of times I've come across individuals who are highly talented, highly creative, can make the most amazing pastas. But if they didn't have the commitment or the dedication to what it takes beyond that in regards to running your business, growing your business, nurturing your business, then it doesn't mean anything. And that is why it's important to really carve out space to discuss the mindset that goes behind your business. I'll go to the next slide. So tonight we're going to be talking about a couple things here. One thing I want you all to understand is that in the creation phases of your business, it is extremely exciting. And there are a lot of moments throughout your career that you're going to have very exciting moments. That's not to say that there will not be hard moments. Okay, the path isn't easy, but neither is life, right? What you have to be willing to do is learn from every mistake, learn from every experience, good and bad, and understand that it's really at the end of the day, passion and drive for the work that you do, the love that you have for the craft that you create, that's going to get you very far. So number one, I cannot stress enough the importance of knowing your why. Why is it that you do what you do? Why is it that you are so dedicated and committed to bringing your dream to life, right? Some of you shared, what your business is. Some of you shared what your passion is. Some of you are already talking about how it's going to give back to the community, but you got to really understand your why. And we're going to get into that a little bit tonight. Understand the time commitment. There's a lot of people that I run into and I meet and they're like, oh my gosh, it must be so cool to be your own boss. You get to wake up whenever you want. And so like, no, that's not the case. This girl wakes up at 5:30 a.m. every morning and I work and work and work, but I make sure that I give myself my timeouts, which we're also going to talk about a little bit later, because as difficult as it can be, having balance is very important. And we'll talk about why in a little bit. And you want to prioritize your mindset. Sometimes we want to look at our books all day long and figure out how do we make our books work for us, or we want to dive into these recipes and like keep going at them until we figure them out. But mindset is just as important as any other component in your business, and you have to give it its time and prioritize it. Your business is nothing without you. If you burn out, you break down, your business is done. Okay, so make sure that you prioritize mindset. And last but not least is committing to personal growth. One thing that I learned throughout the pandemic, I at this point, I sold 2 of my bars, one very recently. But during the pandemic, I was responsible of moving 4 businesses through a very tough time. 4 businesses that consisted of employees and their families that depended on my decision-making, on my leadership. And if I hadn't committed to my personal growth and understanding what leadership looks like, I could have really easily had that weight destroy me and my businesses. So committing to personal growth, I'm not saying that it's that extreme for everyone. Hopefully we don't ever have a pandemic again that really rocks our world, but personal growth is really important, especially as a leader of your business. I'm going to talk about how you need to see your business a little later on as we go through the slides, but you are the most important component to your business and your leadership as well. Next slide. So we're going to be getting hands-on throughout the night. We do have a follow-up on Thursday, and you will have a worksheet that you need to complete after this webinar. But you will have some time to kind of start thinking about things before you have to actually commit to writing them down. But as we move along, I do want you to have maybe a journal handy, a pen and paper, because I do want you to think about some things and jot them down. This will help you complete your worksheet. I don't want to call it homework, like the old school teacher in me. Your why is the power behind your business. And it's the foundation of which you're going to build your business's mission, which you're going to learn about later. And it's your fuel and motivation to build your brand. For me personally, when I first opened my first business, I thought about the statistics. And this is something, I don't know why, I think that as an undergrad, My major was gender, ethnic, multicultural studies and sociology. So I was very conscious of statistics and the reality of representation and the lack of in certain industries. So one of my biggest drives has always been proving things wrong, being a positive statistic, and really at the end of the day, representation and what that means, right? So my whys through the hardest days has always been, no, I'm gonna do this because I know what it means to my community to see this business thrive, to see someone that looks like them create something from a dream into reality and something that gives back to the community. And so for me, my why is really my community and giving back to it. So again, through some really rough moments, I would think about that and what it means. And even looking at numbers now, in terms of how many small businesses are owned by BIPOC communities. And recently I had to do a presentation for the city of LA. And I was actually surprised to learn that LA City is the leading city in the nation when it comes to BIPOC owned businesses. So if I feel that that's not a lot of businesses, then it's really disappointing the rest of the nation is doing. So it just made me really appreciate organizations like CLA for really focusing on the development and growth of BIPOC businesses and aligning my business with organizations like this to help you find your whys and keep y'all growing and get your doors open and do what you got to do. But really, we're going to get into your why on this next slide. So I know I'm going off on a tangent here. I can preach for days. All right, so you may be asking yourself, well, how do I find my personal why? Okay, I'm going to walk you through some of these questions and I want you to write down the answers on your journal. And those of you who are brave enough to share, I will encourage you to share because we want to create a very fun community here where we're all growing together. So I want you to think about a little bit, and I'm going to give you a few seconds, maybe about 30 seconds per question. I know that's not a lot of time, but you do have time after this to dedicate to your worksheets. Number one, why do I want to start a business? Why do you want to do it? Everyone has different motivations. Well, I want to make money, or well, I really love this concept that I thought about, or I want to be a boss. Or I think that this product could really create a positive change in my community. So why do you want to start a business? Think about that. I'm gonna give you 30 seconds and I'm gonna time so that we stay on track here. If I can find my timer. All right, time. We're going to move on to the next question. What are some of my hobbies? So when you have a little bit of free time, what is it that you like to do? What do you like to do? What are some of your hobbies? Things that people have told you you're really good at, or you find your strengths doing? Some few seconds there. I know someone said they like baking. I like playing with my dog. I don't know if that'll get me very far, but it's nice. Okay. Are there causes that I advocate for? Are there causes that I advocate for? So, for example, I keep referring to the pandemic in my case because it was very eye-opening for me, and it helped me see a very big lack in, or I should say, a very big disconnect between our local officials and the small business community. And so I felt this urge to have to advocate for BIPOC small businesses so that people are aware of what we don't have access to, what we need access to, and certain regulations and laws that are outdated that need to be revisited. So those are things I advocate for. So small business BIPOC community is something that's very important to me. What is it for you? Next question, and you could do this like in a list. What are some of my strengths? What are some of your strengths? I love meeting new people. I love talking. I'm really good at organizing events. I can make good chicken soup. My mole needs work. And last question. What do I value most in life? These are all, there's no right or wrong answer, but just think about it. What do I value most in life? And for me, it would be just family time. I know life is short and I want to maximize the amount of time I get to spend with my family. But I also love my businesses. I love seeing them do good. All right, time. Would anyone like to share any of their answers? It doesn't have to be all of them. Maybe one or two of the questions.
I'll share.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so I wrote a little bit for each. So the first one is to make my mark with purpose that allows me to open the doors for others, to consciously focus on wholesome food that honors other people's stomachs as well as minds and hearts, and those in my community. The second one is I like to sing, lift weights, pets, garden, help my neighbors, and feed the homeless. The third question, I currently am active in a group called the Street Team. So we go out on the streets and we basically connect with them, uplift them, support them. I bring food to them and just focusing on helping the youth as well. My strength is I never, ever give up when I could have and should have in many ways. But nah, that's not the way I'm built. I love to uplift others by being a light, and I love making people feel welcomed and loved. One of my priorities now, especially with where I'm at currently, is I'm so grateful for my sanity and my peace, because that was a dream when I was a little kid that I never thought I can have. And cooking has helped me a lot with that. It's humbled me. It's allowed me to shut up and listen and learn how to collaborate, learn what it is to really have hard work, your back aching, your hands burnt, cut. I value the air in my lungs and having bonds with others so I can learn from them and listen.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Thank you. That was great. Anyone else want to share? It doesn't have to be all your answers. Maybe one or two. Belinda, I think I saw your hand go up.
Okay, first of all, I don't think I expressed it the first day that I met Miss Tasha, but I really adore you. I cannot wait to meet you in person. I love your fire.
I love that.
So why do I want to start a business? Gosh, ever since I've always had a heart and mind of a business since I was a kid. If not for me, for my family. My mom was a cook, and all my family from Texas, and I just always thought, why can't we have our own business? So I just always had that mindset, whether I was charging my siblings to babysit my nieces and nephews. Hey, it was a business.
That's right.
So one of my hobbies, creating new recipes. I have a pretty great palate. Eating is also a hobby of mine. presentation, my food presentation always is attractive to people. Let's see, things that I advocate for are definitely the underserved community for health purposes, children. I'm not really so much tied to any one particular organization, but I'm one very willing to volunteer and help wherever. I do my own thing for if I see someone on the street, I'm always wanting to help, you know, give a gift card, buy some dinner. I always want to have something in my car readily available to just help someone along the way, whether it's giving them socks or just having a bag of something to give to someone that's down on their luck. Let's see, what are some of my strengths are meeting new people, teaching what I know. I didn't realize how much I enjoyed teaching until I was asked years ago to teach at the Oasis Center and teaching older adults cooking, and it was quite fun, and they were very engaged, and so I didn't realize how much that I knew and how much I enjoyed that. And adapting under pressure, you know, being in the kitchen in that type of lifestyle, working on behind the line, definitely there's a lot of changes that you have to adapt to, and people and different personalities running the line. So adapting under pressure. And what I most value, I really love your answer, the air that I breathe every day, because there are people that I know that are fighting for just the air in their lungs. So I'm gonna definitely borrow that. I value honesty, integrity, definitely my faith, and Jesus Christ, my family, my friends, and I value myself.
I love that, Belinda. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. Wow. I'm really excited about this group. Such a great group with lots of vibrant energy. So those are great answers. We're going to move right along here. We have more questions that are going to be coming up throughout the webinar here. So I'll be calling on some more folks. Thank you again for sharing, those of you that did. So moving along. So just revisiting your why. That slide we just covered, the exercise we just did, that is what starts kind of moving you towards really getting a clear vision of your why. I'm huge on vision boards. Say what you want about them. They've proven time and time again for me. Once you're very clear on your why, I encourage you to make a little board where you place all these things on it and look at it as often as possible. I've even gone as far as creating like a digital vision board on my Pinterest that I look at every morning, and it just keeps me motivated. You know, I'm human. There's days that I don't want to get out of bed, but I'll look at that and I'll be like, all right, there's work to be done. Let's get up and get going. So really translate what you wrote down into some sort of visual representation and get that out in front of you and start getting clear on your why. And you'll have time to do that. Hopefully you create space for that later after this webinar or whenever you have some quiet time. But moving on into time commitments. I really like this quote. I'm going to read it to you guys. If there was ever one word that defined the champ, the word would be commitment. When everyone else is tired, exhausted, and burned out from the battle, the great ones are just getting warmed up. It's not that they don't fatigue, but their commitment to their dream keeps them going. So it's really understanding ahead of time what you're getting into. I think that with anything, I like to exercise a lot. If I don't understand from the get-go that today I'm committing to 30 minutes of workout, and 5 minutes into it, I'm just like, I'm tired, I don't want to do this, then I keep telling myself, okay, only 25 more minutes. Okay, 20 more minutes. Okay, 10 more minutes. I've already kind of accepted that I've made this commitment to this time allocation. When people decide that they want to go into business, in the beginning, it's really important to understand that you will be wearing many, many, many hats. There's this meme that made me crack up once, and it's this woman in her bed looking hysterical, and they're like, I'm customer relations, I'm the team lead, I'm marketing, I'm your accountant. And that's really what it was like. You're going to do it all, and you have to be okay with it. And again, it's like going back to your why, understanding why you put yourself in that position. But there's going to be a lot of time expected of you at the beginning. And understand that if you take the time and do it right, then you'll know further on when it's time to bring on a team, and do it at a time where you're not going to jeopardize your business. But the number one piece of advice I can give you is just be mentally prepared to do everything in the beginning. Okay, next slide. So in talking about time commitment, how do we do everything without burning out? Okay, you know, when I first opened our first bar, I was still running our financial firm. So I was managing a team, I was meeting with clients, I was coming to my bar, serving beer, wiping down, you know, the bar top, cleaning the bathrooms, taking out the trash, and sleeping very little, right? So there's going to be a lot of times that you're going to have to sacrifice, you know, family members' birthday parties, friends' outings, and some free time while you're pursuing your dream. But you don't want to create a situation that's going to lead to burnout. Okay, so number one, mentally accept the time commitment required of an entrepreneur, especially in the early phases. Number two, master time management. Now, when we talk about time management, there's all kinds of different ways out there on the internet that work for time management. And some of you may have already mastered what works for you. It took me a long time to figure out what works best for me. But once I found it, I committed to it. And it's really what keeps me excited. It's really what keeps me motivated. It keeps me inspired. It keeps me creative, because I know exactly what I like to do once it's time to time out. And then I come back re-inspired. It's healthy for me, it's healthy for my team, and it's healthy for my business. How many of you feel like you've already figured out the best time management that works for you? And if you don't, it's okay. It's like, okay, some of us, okay. So I'll talk about a little bit what my time management looks like, and then we'll hear from some of you who want to share. You have to know when to hire. So I remember there was a point where it was just kind of like, I saw a solid income from my business, and that's always a great sign. And it was very exciting, but I couldn't take the timeouts that I needed to. And my desk was just piling with paper and mail and invoices. And so it was time to step back and look at the books and decide, okay, should I hire someone to now take over this portion of the business? Should I hire someone to take pictures and put the captions to the pictures because I'm not good at it and I have a little bit of extra cash to do that? It's knowing when to hire. That's the most important thing. You know, too many people hire prematurely and jeopardize their business. So you just be careful, but be aware. And that's something that another workshop will cover later on in this session of workshops that you got. And plan and respect your timeouts. When I was younger, I didn't know if I wanted to go into law or education. And so my college mentors were like, well, the best way you're going to know what you want to do is you have to go intern and see what it is to be in those shoes. And then you can make a commitment, because paying for grad school or law school is steep. So I listened and I went and I interned for an attorney that worked with MALDEF, which is the Mexican American Legal Defense and Education Fund. So I was like, I'm going into social justice law. This is going to be it for me, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, I'm not a lawyer. It was not for me. But one of the takeaways that I had there was the lawyer that I was interning for was like, listen, I work hard and I don't mind working and I'll give it all I got. But quarterly, I need to get away for at least 2 days. If I can, 4. And so I don't know if it was that or the fact that I was programmed through school that I would go hard for a quarter and then get a little break at school. But to this date, I will give you everything I got, but you got to give me that break every quarter. And every quarter, if you follow me on social media, you're going to see me somewhere outside of this country. And usually I go to Mexico. It's easy, it's quick, it's right here. But all that said is because I know what works for me and I plan it. You'll see it in my calendar. It's blocked off. My team knows not to touch those dates. I know to respect them. They're blocked off for a reason. And what I find is that it really helps nurture my mind, my mental state. It keeps me balanced. Every time I feel like, oh, I've had enough, it's always like, oh, but I'm going to go here and, very soon, and I'm going to feel good about it. And when I go away, I disconnect completely because I want to respect that space. And what that allows me to do is be out there and I see things and I'm like, that would be really cool in my business. Or, wow, this cocktail looks beautiful. I love these garnishes. Let me take some pictures. I don't mean to work. It's just, the universe throwing me some extra tools to add to my business, and it grows and everyone's happy. I'm happy. The business is happy. So really know how to plan and respect your timeouts. Are there any questions here? We're going to get deeper into it. So everyone talks about work-life balance. And I kid you not, there was a point in my career where I was like, I don't understand where in the heck I'm supposed to be pulling out a balance when I'm doing everything for my business. I have been reading a lot of statistics around entrepreneurs and depression. And, we are 40% more likely to experience depression and anxiety. And I really feel that it's nothing more than we are extremely passionate people. We are extremely dedicated people. From the few that I've heard speak already, we really want to make a difference. And that's a lot of weight on us. And it's beautiful work. And I believe that it can be accomplished. But you have to understand that the longevity of you as an entrepreneur will really come from learning how to nurture a life-work balance or a work-life balance. What's that saying? I'm bilingual, so I sometimes slip up on these things. You have to work to live, not live to work. Did I say that right? I always get that mixed up. And that's a big, common thing that entrepreneurs do. They just commit to their business and we become workaholics. You're not doing anything to inspire anyone. They're seeing you burn yourself out. So really understand it could be as simple as taking time to color. I bought a coloring book recently and I take time to color in my coloring book at night. I had no idea there's a lot of scientific research around how it calms your brain, how it helps relaxation. This is very, very simple things that can bring peace into your life. I also read these scientific studies about petting dogs. You know that there's chemicals that are released in your brain when you pet a dog that release that happy chemical? Who knew? And so it's just tiny little things that can create happiness and joyful moments, especially after a very stressful day or things just didn't go the way you wanted to, and finding how to create those moments throughout your day. I recently, again, started blocking off certain hours on certain days in my calendar, and I respect them as if it was one of the most important meetings in my calendar. And those are blocked off as personal time. Personal time. You have no idea how much benefit that will do your business if you do that. Because you're no good to your business when you're burned out or stressed out or anxious or yelling at your staff. But when you can take those timeouts and breathe and enjoy life, because life goes real quick, you really can bring back a lot of value to your business. Belinda.
So I would, I've never researched this, and I would be curious if, unless you know, what would be the statistics of European business owners versus American, because they do have the, the shutdown of the country, basically, or even their daily ritual. When I went to Spain back in, I think 11 years ago, and thinking I'm going out to lunch, and they're like, oh yeah, we're going out to lunch too. So get what you can, so, and it's just beautiful. And they take their time and just really like enjoy life. So I was just wondering what is, hearing you mention that about the work-life balance, what would be the ratio of that depression or
Yeah.
statistics from a
I
European?
never thought about that. That's a great point. You're going to make me go look, because that's actually really interesting to me. I'm really geeky when it comes to statistics, but again, one of the things I love advocating for is mental wellness for entrepreneurs. And so I just kind of started looking into like all these statistics, but that's a great one. I'm going to look into that. I have an answer for you when I get back with you guys. Any questions around the work-life balance? It's a work in progress. It's not something that happens immediately. I think it takes a little bit of practice and then finessing it and figuring it out. But if you're hearing too many people tell you, you need to take a break, you need to take a break, you need to take a break, you probably need to take a break. Okay, so make sure that you try and find that balance within all that work. Next slide, Maybelline. Thank you. All right, so let's get back to our journaling. I want you guys to think about, and I'm pulling up my timer here so I can really time correctly. Everyone has 30 seconds per question. What does, in a perfect world, in a perfect life, an ideal daily work schedule look like for you? Daily. Don't be afraid to dream. You write what that ideal perfect schedule would look like. You have 30 seconds. And this is on a daily. So today's Monday. What would your work schedule have looked like? All right, time. We're going to do that again, but now we're going to think on weekly. What does your weekly work schedule look like, ideally? For a long time, I would work 15, 16 days straight. Every so often, I will do that, but trust me, I'm going to take about 4 days off after that. But for the most part, I'm really good now about getting at least 2.5 days off where I kind of do my thing. All right, time. I want you guys to come back to these questions after, okay? So don't feel like you didn't get to finish. All right, now looking at those ideal time frames, what do you hope to accomplish during that time frame? I know it's kind of a vague question here, so let's just think about if there's goals that you have set for the week, emails, newsletters, marketing, recipes, whatever it is. What do you hope to accomplish during that time frame? Obviously, lots of profit. Okay, time. I'm going to let you into something that really, really, really works really well for me. I feel that I have been blessed with a very creative mind. Like ideas come to me like I have some sort of channel to the universe. It's just like boom, 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 boom. If I just had $1 million, these ideas would do fabulous, but I don't. So sometimes I could get really cluttered in my brain. And so I know that I have tasks to take care of. Ideas are coming to me from everywhere. But what I do is every Sunday, I will take time to debrief the prior week. So I'll look back at last week every Sunday and I'll think about, okay, what really worked? What didn't work? And what do I want to change this upcoming week? Were there any dead spots where I just kind of like walked around aimlessly? Or were there any spots where I just felt like I was doing too much and felt a little burned out? So I take inventory. And then the next step I do is I think about all the things I have coming up and I write them all down. Now, for me, it's a little challenging because there's 4 businesses, so I categorize them. And then I write down everything that's coming up. Right under it, I start breaking down the little tiny steps to accomplish each sub goal, the little tiny steps. Come Monday, as soon as I get in, I do what's called time blocking. Anyone here a time block? Okay, some of you have. For those of you who haven't, that's okay. What time blocking is, and what I found works for me, is that I will dedicate 1 hour. I'll say, okay, from 8 to 9, I will not look at my social media. I will not look at my emails. I will not pick up my phone. If texts come through, oh well. Everything's on hold until this checklist, as much as I can get done in that hour, is done. As soon as that hour is up, I give myself 15 minutes to get up, walk around, make a quick phone call, chat, get a coffee, do something a little bit fun, talk to the people in the room. But my team knows that it's silence for an hour and then a little bit of fun time for 15. And it's what works for me. That's called time blocking, and that's the best time management that works for me. That's not to say it works for everyone. There's all kinds of time management out there. I think one of the assignments on the worksheet is to find different types of time management that exist and see which one appeals to you the most. So you organize your tasks by time, and some people do it by day, but that's time blocking, and I love how that works, okay? So take time weekly to debrief your schedule with yourself. Did you reach the goals that you were hoping to reach? What worked, what didn't? And then are you finding yourself maxed out at time? If so, that means you need a hire. Are you hitting it hard and feeling burned out? If so, it's time for a timeout. And just every week, you're going to have to reevaluate. Okay, what worked from last week, what didn't? And then just adjust. The beautiful life of an entrepreneur. Any questions there? Time management questions. Feel free to ask. We're good? All right. I should ask no, I'll wait till we meet again on Thursday. All right. Prioritizing mindsets. The most valuable resource for entrepreneurs is their mind. Why is your mind the most valuable resource? Well, that's where all your ideas are coming from. You're the mastermind behind your creation. You gave birth to this beautiful business baby. You want to nurture it and be the best business parent there is. I don't have any kids. It's a long story I'll share with you guys throughout the course. But I feel that I was blessed with businesses. They were my babies. So I really look out for every business, and it's weird how I talk about them. Like I have a toddler and a 16-year-old, and they're all my businesses. But anyway, getting back to here, Mental strength is the capacity of an individual to deal effectively with stressors, pressures, and challenges and perform to the best of their ability, irrespective of the circumstances in which they find themselves. The mind is like a muscle that needs to be strengthened regularly. I talked to you all about how I do daily exercises for my mind. And it's okay if you don't feel mentally strong every day. You're not supposed to, we're human. But if you give your mind a little bit of exercise on a daily basis, and it could be as simple as like, okay, for an hour, I'm not gonna look at my phone. Believe it or not, that's building mental strength. Because the more you keep giving into what your mind wants it to, you're giving it permission to just take control over you. So little tiny exercises to really develop that muscle to get stronger and stronger and stronger. One of the number one things that I love to do in terms of building my mental strength is I read books and I listen to audiobooks. There's music that I really enjoy, but sometimes it just doesn't serve me to be listening to the radio all the time. And so instead of listening to the radio, sometimes I plug in my Audible when I'm driving to and from work and I audiobook listen. And so a commitment that I've made since last year is 2 books a month, more if I can, but 2 books a month, whether I read them or listen to them. One of them is all soul searching and, you know, all that self-help stuff that I love. That's not what you have to do. And another one is anything that would help my business. And I love listening to stories of people who've made it, you know, because they talk about their struggle, what they did to overcome it. And for me, that motivates me. So that's one of the things that I like to do to build my mental strength too, is listen to other people's stories. And these things are so accessible these days. You can even YouTube motivational stories. One of my favorite books, when I was making the transition from work, my 9-to-5 to entrepreneurship, was called Before You Quit Your Job by Robert Kiyosaki. And he just kind of talks about all these different exercises about learning to love no, and getting over the fear of rejection, and asking yourself, well, if they can do it, then why not me? And again, that's all building mental strength, because trust me, there's going to be days where you're going to question every decision in life around your business, and you have to have that mental strength to really propel you through it. So it's creating ways to nurture that. And prioritize and strengthen mindset. You're creating the power to catapult your results. I can't tell you the amount of times I've seen people quit too soon. It's going to get hard. And some of us are going to have to experience some failures, but everyone does. I mean, think about your life up until now. How many of us have had something that didn't go the way we wanted it to, but we grew from it, and we're here, and we're still thinking about going after our business? That says a lot about us, right? And so we have to give ourselves credit for what we've overcome, where we're at, and the fact that we're still willing to dream and give it all we got. And so I commend all of you for signing up for these types of courses and showing up. There's a lot of things you could have been doing right now. Well, there's a lot of things. You could be on your couch just chilling and taking a nap, but you chose to show up here, and that says a lot already about the steps that you're willing to invest into yourself, and the same for your mindset. Next slide. So, techniques for developing an effective entrepreneur mindset. Positive thinking. I know some of my friends are like, oh, here you go again, positive thinking. But it's a real thing, you know. It's number one, understanding the amount of negative thoughts that come into your mind. Okay. The number one step we want to take is monitoring our thoughts. Monitor those thoughts. I did this in the beginning with a little journal, and every time I'd have a negative thought, I would write it down. Because I wanted to see what my brain was telling me and why. Where were these things coming from? a lot of us, in my case, I came from an immigrant household. So my parents love to use fear-based, control. Like, don't go over there, like kukui, it's gonna come out and scare you. or don't touch that because the Llorona is gonna come out and steal you at night. And it's just all these like fear-based things where you're constantly worried. And so it's a matter of tracking and understanding the root of that, because sometimes there's fears that come up in our life that really try and hold us back, but they're made up. We make those fears up, or somebody trained us to think about fears that don't really exist. Okay, so number one, you're going to monitor your thoughts. What sounds, what language are you using? What conversations are you having? What images are you feeding your mind? Are you watching the news a lot? What are you and your friends talking about? Are you talking about ideas? Are you talking about people? What words are you using? What are you listening to? You have to track that and see where you're at, okay? Then, once you understand your surroundings, you got to create a filter system for your thoughts. So you start eliminating negativity. Now, I was a person, I talked about earlier that one of my strengths is meeting people. I love meeting people and talking to people. And so growing up, I had a lot of friends, or what I thought were friends. You're young and everyone's a friend. And your mom's always like, oh no, that's not a good person. You're like, oh, you don't know my friends. But then you start becoming conscious of things. And you start doing exercises like this, where you're thinking about positivity, because you need positivity so that you're able to bring that into your business. And so there's something that was told to me that I couldn't forget, and I started being conscious of it. And there was a saying that goes like this: if you can't change your friends, change your friends. There are people that you're going to tell your goals to, that you're going to tell your dreams to, that you're going to tell your ideas to. And they're going to tell you you're crazy. And they're going to tell you, oh, you don't know, my friend did that and they went under. Or you don't want to do that. Look at how many businesses have closed already. I call those dream stealers, and you want to stay away from them. The moment you hear that type of negativity, that person does not need to be in your life. Limit yourself. Okay? Limit yourself. You want to create a circle of support. My support system is solid. I'm 16 years in the game, and I still have days where I run back to my support circle crying, and they pump me up where I come out feeling like a champ. So eliminate negativity. Cut those people that are feeding negative thoughts into your mind. You don't need that. You work too dang hard on your own mindset. Eliminate the news. If you're watching too much news, obviously you want to stay on top of all the good things and all the bad things that are happening, but be conscious of how much you let that in. Be conscious of it. Be aware, but be careful who's feeding it to you. Okay? What music are you listening to? Sometimes there's like, have you ever noticed there's music that you're like, yeah, and then music where you're like, I want to cry all day, or like, I feel angry. Like, just think about what you're listening to and what feelings it's invoking, okay? Positivity is everything. It's like a channel that helps you. Obviously, we're not going to be happy people all the time, but as much as we can control it, we want to control that, okay? Because it keeps us in a good mental place. Number 2, visualization. I talked about vision boards. If you're not into vision board and you're not into any of that, meditation, prayer. I'm a faith-driven person. I love to pray. I pray every morning. And I pray as if those things are here right now. And I say, thank you for this amazing life. Thank you for my romantic partner that buys me dozens of roses every time he feels that I deserve. Honestly, God, I give thanks for things as if they already exist here. Okay? And it helps with that visualization. And then you want to evaluate if your habits and actions are aligned with that vision. Is what you did today aligned with that vision you have? The things you did today, the actions you took today, did they get you closer to that vision? Or were you acting like a complete different person that is completely disconnected from the vision that you have for yourself? And that's okay. We all go through those days. You just have to be aware and course correct. Like, oh, okay, well, today I slipped up and I just kind of doodled for an hour, and maybe I needed a doodle, but I'll start being conscious of where I spend my time and how I spend it. Okay. Number 3 is goal setting. Goal setting is so important. If you don't know where you're going, then it's going to be this like you're going in circles doing nothing because you really don't know what you're trying to accomplish. Okay. So if the goal is to get your business to the point where it's a brick and mortar, let's just say, then you want to set up small goals. What are the small goals that help you get to that bigger goal? How do we get there? One of my favorite ways to kind of put into context and keep me motivated when it comes around to goals is I love exercising. I love exercising. I also lost my dad 2 years ago. So sometimes the holidays are very hard for me. And so this past November, I felt the holiday blues hit me real hard. And so I stopped exercising, started doing comfort food eating. And so then I started thinking, you know what? Would my dad want this for me? And is this really paying any type of homage to his memory? And so I said, you know what? I'm going to dust this off. I'm going to talk to some friends about how I'm feeling and, you know, take care of my mental health. Let me start exercising again. And so rather than getting on my bike and being like 45 minutes, 80 resistance, let's go. We're going to go hard. I was like, no, you know what? I'm going to take it easy on myself this week. I'm going to aim for 4 days a week. And on those 4 days, I'm going to do 10 minutes. This is 10 minutes every day or for the 4 days this week. Boom. Day number 1, done. Hit that goal. I feel good. Day number 2, 10 minutes, hit it. Boom, done. Feel good. By the time I hit day number 4, I'm like, wow, I hit my goals this week. I'm excited. Good for me. Next week, I'm going to do 15 minutes for 4 days. And I built myself back up to 45 minutes. But I took it in baby steps and I was okay with that. I was gentle with it. I understood that I really needed to be careful with how I jumped back into things. But that's just how goals work. Little ones, you got to celebrate them because the big ones don't mean anything without the little goals. So always celebrate your wins. Always celebrate them. I don't care how little they are, how big they are. Always make time to pat yourself on the back. The attitude of gratitude. Your thoughts and feelings of gratitude elevate your performance and your creativity. There's studies behind these things. It's not things that are said to like sound pretty. There's actual studies behind feeling grateful, remaining in a state of gratitude. You know, Tasha and Belinda shared earlier about how they value the breath in their lungs. Like this, just think about it. Something so simple that we could easily take for granted. Very easily. But if you really think about it, it's like, wow, I'm grateful that I can breathe on my own right now. And that I can go outside and feel the sun hit my skin and feel good. And think about immediately how that shifts your mood. Just feeling grateful. And it does things for your mental state. You feel happy. You feel grateful. You feel like things are good. Things are good. And I have to do that often sometimes because sometimes I'll get hard on myself and be like, why didn't we hit the number this month? And we should have hit this number. But then I'm like, you know what? Life is much bigger than this. 5 years from now, am I gonna care that I didn't get the sales numbers on Tuesday, February 4th, 2023? No, I was gonna be grateful that I had a business and that I had balance and I feel good and I can breathe and I walk and all that great stuff. So remain in an attitude of gratitude. So right now in your journals, I want you to write down 5 things that you feel grateful for in your life right now. It could be simple things. I'll share mine while you're writing yours. I'm grateful for my dog Canelo, the love of my life. I'm grateful for my mom. I saw my mom. We went on a nice little trip together. I feel really grateful that I was able to do that. I'm grateful to have a very supportive partner in life. I'm grateful for my businesses. And I'm grateful for my health right now. I'll give you guys a few more seconds. Okay, time. I hate to interrupt. I see you guys so thoughtfully writing your lists. You'll be able to do some more later. Someone who hasn't gone that feels comfortable sharing maybe 1 or 2 things you feel grateful for. Anybody, if you feel comfortable.
Hi, I can share. This is Stephanie.
Thank you, Stephanie.
It just hit me that my friend randomly got concert tickets and she invited me and she said, we just need to go to this. And it was so abrupt that I hadn't processed it. And so as we're talking about our week and all of this, I'm like, I'm going to a concert in like a couple of days. And I was just so thankful and grateful to have friends who still care about music and surprise me and are just so great. So I'm so grateful for my friends. I'm grateful also for this space that hit me as well when we were talking. I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't surround myself with a lot of entrepreneurs, especially not female BIPOC entrepreneurs, not because I don't want to, but this is a very special space. So that has hit me too. And yeah, I'm grateful for everything, grateful for all of you. And I'm so happy to be asked to do this exercise because I'm like, yeah, let's pour on more gratitude. It's always super
I love it.
Great.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Awesome. No, thank you for sharing. Yeah. I felt that energy too. You made me happy too. And you enjoy your concert. You deserve it.
Thank you so much.
Jasmine, I see you have your hands up. Thank you.
Yeah. I wrote down a few things. I'm grateful for my supportive partner. I'm grateful for just a healthy body, and a supportive and loving family. But just today, I actually was like standing in my hallway and I was just like, you know what? I was getting stuck in some negative thoughts and some like limiting like thoughts or like lack mindset. And I was like, you know, I'm just incredibly grateful to just have a roof over my head, like a space that I can create into a home, and like someone who's here who loves me and is supporting me through those moments. Like sometimes you get caught up in like the world and things, and then you don't realize how your mind is kind of just going and you're thinking in all these different kind of ways that aren't serving you. And then like I just had this moment where I was like struck with like gratitude and like kind of settled into like this piece of just like, I'm okay, like everything is okay. And you are working towards the life that you want, but also appreciating the journey that you are on. So
beautiful. Yeah. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you both. I appreciate you being open to sharing. And yeah, these thoughts are so important. Your thoughts become your reality. And so if we allow the negativity to take over, it's a quick downward spiral. It's unfortunate, but it is. And then we just start seeing those results. So we always stay in the state of gratitude. We're always going to see the good things, and it's always going to help us through those hard times. It's going to help us shift. And then we're just the best version of ourselves for our businesses. And again, so we're trying to combat a lot of these statistics that are coming up about entrepreneurs, and it's not easy, but these type of support systems are huge. And I think, Stephanie, you mentioned just having access to a group of entrepreneurs, and that's great too. You know, make a support circle of friends that are entrepreneurs, because it's very unique challenges we face that not everyone understands, and you start feeling lonely in that. So having other people that you could call and be like, oh my gosh, can you believe they just added whatever it is, and da 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 da, and someone's like, oh my God, yes, ha ha ha, and then we move on. So all great stuff. Thank you so much. Y'all are amazing. Next slide. Commit to personal growth. Commit to personal growth. Okay. Whether you have a product or a service, at the end of the day, people buy you. You could be selling them a piece of paper. If they don't like you, they're not going to buy it. But if they love you, they love what you stand for, they love your story, they're going to buy you. And in order to do that, again, you have to be the best version of yourself. Your staff is going to buy into your vision. Your staff's going to get behind you. They want to feel like they can trust you. You're always in this like space. I'm not asking you to always just be happy and laughing. We're human. We're going to have bad days, and that's okay. We have to embrace that, but commit to your personal growth. This book I'm currently reading was actually talking about how success can be the greatest enemy to entrepreneurs, because it convinces us that things are supposed to be easy, right? And so you never want to side with comfort. Just because you're hitting some average numbers, you don't want to be like, well, it's going to do what it's going to do. I'm fine. Let me just kind of chill out. Commit to some healthy habits for yourself. Nurture healthy habits. And we just talked about a lot of them right now. Another one is remain a student of your business. Constantly study your business. Constantly study your business. You know, one of my businesses is a bar, and it's a craft beer bar. It's been around for 4.5 years. And as young as it is, there's a lot of changing parts to it. There's a lot of trending beers. There's a lot of trending cocktails. There's a lot of culture behind it, right? And I got to stay on top of it. I got to stay on top of it so that I can provide the best service that I could possibly provide to my community, the best experience, the best ambiance. How do I keep that relevant, right? I got to remain a student of my business, constantly be studying it. Social media even. When we opened 4 years ago, there was no TikTok or Reels. Like these real things are like, but I know I got to learn them. It's just part of the business. So remain a student of your business. I like study it at night. My husband thinks I'm like playing. Yeah, it's funny. I see some really funny TikToks, but even then I'm just kind of studying like, okay, how does this work? So I could do the best I can. I do have a team at this point that handles it, but I send them ideas because I want to exist. I want my existence in the business, right? You can form or join a mastermind group. You know, mastermind groups are wonderful. They're like groups like this where everyone comes together, has a good time, but shares tips. Some of us have access to doors that maybe others don't, or has, you know, gone a few steps further with their product line that could really help the rest of us. And if we're all sharing those ideas, we're all moving up together a lot faster than trying to figure it out as a lonely only. So look for mastermind groups. And if you can't find them, make it up. Now, some of my favorite readings that will help with a lot of what we covered tonight. Everything is Figure Outable by Marie Forleo. It's a fun book. She's got like this fun personality. It was really easy to read. We Should All Be Millionaires. I listened to that on Audible and I loved it so much. I had to buy the paperback by Rachel Rogers. She also is on Instagram and posts a lot of really cool resources, but We Should All Be Millionaires is actually at the top of my list. Very good book. Talks about a lot of what we went over today, which really seals the deal on how important this stuff is. The Power of Now is such a classic. It's about the importance of living in the present moment, not letting your mind take you too far ahead or still dealing with the past. But The Power of Now is such a wonderful book. And 4,000 Weeks was so great. Took me forever. I had to pre-order that book because it was so high demand for a little while, which I thought was interesting. But it really talks about, you know, if you put it into context, if we're lucky, we're born with 4,000 weeks. Think about that. Doesn't sound like a lot. And if you're like me, I'm probably about a little under halfway through that. So what do I do with those remaining 1,000 weeks, right? And so it talks about the concept of time management and how to prioritize what's important to you in life. Great book, highly recommended. These are my top 4 that I love. So I'm sharing them with you here. And we are just about done. Y'all were amazing. How does everyone feel? I love it. We have just like a couple of minutes, I'd say 2 minutes, if anyone has questions or has feedback, wants to comment something.
One thing I find fascinating about this is like, I'm sure if, you know, like all you ladies are here present, I'm sure you guys feel this exhaustion. And sometimes it's so, I physically feel it and the eyelid twitches, but the smile is like there, you know? And that I feel like just allowing myself to smile and to be present in that has helped me. Like I just started another semester of school today, and I had to wake up really early for the baking course. I had a pop-up yesterday. The night before, I only had 2 hours of sleep. So I'm burnt out. And I told myself, oh, when I get home from school, I'm going to make my food and then just go to sleep and then come to here. And I couldn't allow myself. I was like, no, you need to do X, Y, and Z. So after, you can deserve the rest. So after this ends, I can actually sit down, rest, and evaluate. And it's just empowering to hear these confirmations on that when others may see you looking in, and not so much to say, oh, you need a rest, but like, you're crazy. Like, how are you doing this? It's like this supernatural strength that everybody has access to, but it's not being tapped into, if that makes sense. And to hear you say that and have wisdom in that, it just confirms like, okay, continue to do that, but still remain in that that rest, having those time blocks. I like that. I never heard of time blocking, but I've actively been doing that. But I like that now it's something that I can hold on to, and it's empowering. So when I say, no, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to allow myself to rest after this. I said so, you know. And then I think it was, let me see, Jasmine. I'm so grateful that you mentioned fear, because that's something that I've dealt with my whole life. And like I mentioned, not till like maybe 2 years ago, I have more peace and sanity, but fear has been the number one thing that just like, literally, I felt like it would choke me and my dreams. And I'm just like, I'm over it. Like, we have nothing to lose. Like you said, we have 4,000 weeks of life. Like, you know, might as well just go for it. So yeah, cool.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate it. And thank you all for being here tonight. I really commend you all for making the time and really committing to your dreams. You're in a really good place. I can't stress that enough. And thank you for being open to hearing everything we reviewed tonight. You do have a worksheet that you will have to work on. I think we regroup on Thursday. And so this worksheet, I just encourage you to create a space. I know sometimes it can be hard if there's folks around, but create a space where you feel comfortable, light a candle if you want to, maybe a little bit of sage, whatever you feel comfortable doing, and really put some thought into this. It's just stuff that I wish I had access to when I first started. And it's going to really help you kick off the series of workshops that you're headed into. And each workshop is building on the next one, and we're all here to help share our knowledge. Like, we're going to learn from you as much as you are learning from us. So thank you again.
Thank you, Corissa. That was inspiring, and as Tasha said, is confirming of everything that I personally also have been doing for myself in different areas. So thank you so much. And just to reiterate, the group section is actually on Wednesday at the same time at 4 p.m. You should all have the Zoom link. Anyways, I'll send a reminder. And after that, we'll just meet with Mandy to see how we craft a winner idea. Nobody else has any other questions or anything to add, we'll call it here. So we are like just past 3 minutes. Are we all good? Thank you. See you on Wednesday. Have a great night. Thank you, Corissa. Bye.
Thank you. Great presentation.
Thank you so much.